Hey community, this is Amy B of Unity, welcoming you to chapter 2 of our Unity alignment series. So this is day 5 of 28 and we are entering now into the sacral space where we've moved through grounding, where you've been introduced to your roots. Now I'd like to introduce you to your perch. Sounds good to have that space where we can just perch in alignment and we don't need to hold ourselves upright. So where are you holding? We explored this a bit in the last chapter, how our fascia web which holds us up can create anchor points like ropes of a ship's mast to hold us when we're in misalignment. So when the pelvis bowl, if you imagine it's like a cradle that holds all of our organs, but when it's in a misalignment, we have these fascia ropes slung around our pelvis and then permeating through our inner fabrics so that we can be held up this way. And you can imagine what it's like having these frayed old ropes causing friction and restriction against our organs and our inner fabrics, and how our energy, which is all based on fluid and flow, whether it's our blood delivering nourishment, the lymph fluid collecting waste, or our neurological impulses sending out neurotransmitters and hormones which affect the way that our body reacts and how we behave in any moment. This is all tied up in knots. It's not flowing correctly. So that also just means that our organs aren't getting enough nourishment. So unfortunately, like most things, we don't send a lot of our awareness here unless something goes wrong. And I mean, it's fair enough. We're not sat here thinking, oh, I need to turn on my small intestines to digest my dinner. It's all automated. But keep in mind, we will cover this more in the next chapter, but it will only automate when your body has space to enter the rest, digest and repair side of our nervous system, rather than being in our reactive, what's going on, we need to be unawares, we can't really turn on our digestive function just yet mode, which a lot of us are spending our time in. So that's one angle, but also when we have problems occurring in this area, so problems I'm talking about like irritable bowel syndrome, which is so common nowadays. A lot of people are struggling with irritable bowel syndrome and they don't know why. This could be why. Lower back pain is the most common form of back pain, or just pain in general that exists in the world. Which will also be coupled with tight hip flexors, but then on an internal level, people are getting urinary tract infections, kidney infections, period pain, sexual discomfort, and also problems conceiving because this area isn't functioning well. And also, when it's not functioning well, that what we send there is negative emotions and stress, and we tie it all into knots in our stomach because we send the stress there, but then it can't really release because everything is just so restricted. So we've got this build up going on in this area, this poor tender area. So instead, what I'd like us to start connecting with is thinking of the pelvis like a bowl that is containing the sacred waters that your body needs to be continually flowing. So when we think of this like a bowl, and we don't want to spill our waters, so to engage with that, speaking of spilling waters, let's connect with this area for a moment. So I want you to imagine, you're listening to me, you can't really break and run away, but you get a little message from your bladder that just says, hey guy, I could do with going to the bathroom. So instead of letting it just go, we wait. And I just want you to send that message there now. weight. And as we send weight to our inner pelvic floor, then we do create that little squeeze and that sense of weight there. So you feel how you can then drop your weight right into this center point. Now I don't want you like, oh, squeezing super tight, and unless you really do need to go. If so, pause the video. A lot of people get caught up in the idea that we need to do these regular, super tight squeezing pelvic floor exercises, which is a useful form of therapy if you do have a dropped pelvic floor. But otherwise, it more or less, nature should be taking care of itself just by this slight engagement. And when you tell yourself this, wait, I don't want you to feel like you have to hold yourself there. Just a few times out the day, check in, and you will be amazed at how quickly it catches on. Like a couple of days and just bam, you're just being held in this space, honestly. So what we're doing here is that little douche. So we go from our pelvis maybe being a bit out of line to the pubis bone lifts up slightly through this engagement in the middle, and the tailbone comes down. So we got more of that container to cradle our organs, our pelvic bowl. So we don't have to be working hard on our core to have a good stable foundation, and it's actually not good for you to be in this craze of just working the abs. Everyone wants a flat stomach, whereas actually by really tightening through these abs, you're just tightening and restricting your pelvic bowl even more. So you're going to be causing yourself more pain, more problems in the future. So we can still strengthen our core, which is the inside of our spine, but we just don't need to strengthen our abs to excess. We want to be upright and strong, but not rigid, not to the extreme. And the other extreme that we notice quite common in this day and age is an arch in the lower back. So this is known as lordosis, and this is the other extreme. So when it really tightens at the back, it does really spill all the organs and the weight of such in towards our abdominal wall. We can end up with a hernia, which is where there's the organs start to spill through, which again is not natural and it's not ideal. But even worse than the hernia is the pain, is the lower back pain that will be caused by the anchor points that are having to weigh all the way through your lower back area to hold you up when you're not centered this way. So yeah, I hope that you're feeling me here. So simply by engaging with that weight, that middle pelvic floor, and then stacking our heart above our pelvis and our head above our heart, how we can just rest blissfully in lightness here. So I hope that's highlighted a bit to you about how the pelvic bowl can slip in either direction, but it can also, it's very vulnerable to coming in this direction as well. So that's where I'd say the left side is forward and the right side is back, or vice versa. And generally this comes about from how we position our grounding area, so our legs and feet. So that was covered a bit in the last chapter. But also when we come into our practices after this video, I'm going to take you through a mindfulness practice, which is just going to really help you connect to the nourishment of your organs and your body. And then we're going to move into a movement as medicine practice, which is going to really help to realign your pelvis, releasing all of those muscles which are holding you in imbalance. So yeah, maybe you can spend a bit of time today connecting with your pelvic bowl. Can it be a cradle? Can you switch on that weight and perch just above? Imagine you can slip your loving hand inside your body and just hold your upper body so you can just rest there lightly, like a bird on a perch. Nowhere to be, just to sing the songs of the day. And we're going to cover more about aligning through the nervous system in the next chapter. But I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Join us tomorrow for the mindfulness exercise and connect deeper in with your center. With admiration for all that you will be and love from me, Amy B.